Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 6th of December and I welcome you all to Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. Guys, in this particular video, we are going to take up the entire analysis of Hindu newspaper. We'll take all the articles along with their background as well as way forward. Now, first of all guys, before starting this particular session, I would like to tell you that you can download the explainer notes of this particular session from Telegram channel. And the link for the Telegram is given in the description box in YouTube. Now, let's take overview so that we can understand that which articles are relevant in the today's newspaper. Okay, so guys, here we can see that first page it contains the articles. First article is Michaung makes landfall in Andhra Pradesh, wreaks havoc. Now understand guys that when we talk about the cyclones and all such kind of a things, you are really not required to track what is the death toll and all such kind of a things, but some important things. For example, when we talk about cyclones, we have seen that peculiar names such as Biparjoy, Gulab, etc. have been given. So though not mentioned in article, but we are going to discuss an important theme that how these cyclones are named. For example, this cyclone has been named as Michaung. So we'll take that particular additional information. Then further moving on guys, after that we have the political articles. Congress announces Revant Reddy as CM of Telangana. Fine. Then here we have two articles which are important for our examination. Global stock take draft calls for phasing out fossil fuels. We'll take this particular article. Then glaciers shrank 1 meter a year in a decade. WMO will take this article also for the examination. Fine. Then further moving on in city section, we have the regional articles. Fine. All such kind of things have been given. Tenders. Fine. No need to go too much in that particular detail. So guys, moving on and in this particular direction, guys, we are going to we will skip to the editorial section. Now in editorial guys, we are going to have an article, experimental political choice by meso electorate. Now article is not very much important for examination. Article is having the political undertone. Just a minute. Okay, so the article has political undertone, talking about the different stakes of the political parties and all such things have been given. So not needed for examination. Then guys, below we have article the Ambedkar touch in rethinking social justice policies. So guys, today is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's death anniversary, Mahaparinirvan Divas. So on that particular line, this article has been published, which is talking about the ideas of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar with respect to social justice. Also at different pages you will also be finding on that particular on that particular lines you will be finding that leaders. For example, I'll show you here. Okay, so here we see that homage has been given, tribute has been given to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So it is because of the Mahaparinirvan Divas. Then further moving on guys, after that in this capacity we have the article why Congress lost Rajasthan. Okay, so not really required for examination, that what worked for BJP, what did not work for Congress and all such kind of things. So here this entire page is filled with the political articles. Okay, how many people are satisfied by the Congress government's Ashok Gehlot's work in Rajasthan? How many people are not satisfied? All such surveys have been given. So we will be moving on from this particular thing and going on to the next page. Fine. Okay, so here we have an article, how can country have two constitution, asked Shah. Okay, so basically guys, the article is talking about with respect to the Jammu and Kashmir reorganization that has been done. Now many of the members of opposition party, they have questioned the introduction, they have questioned the introduction of the bills for the J&K reorganization, and for that particular thing the matter is going on in Supreme Court also. Then moving on further guys, in this capacity, fine. So here we have the issue which is going on. US officials raise Panun plot case, asks India to probe. So guys, yesterday also we have seen one particular article that has come in this particular line. So what has happened? USA has indicted an Indian national that he had played a role in organizing organizing the plot to kill one of a Khalistani leader and has acted on the behest of some Indian government official. So on that capacity, Indian government has started a probe. Okay, then here we have one article, is unmarried women having children by surrogacy an accepted norm? We'll take this particular article for examination. Okay, cash for kidney scam, opposition question centers in action. Then on text and context page, the journey towards a plastic free world. We'll take this particular article for examination because recently an intergovernmental negotiating committee meet has happened. So we'll take what are takeaways out of this particular meeting for environment GS paper number 3. We'll take this particular article. Then guys, moving on, understanding the GPS works. Okay, so guys, I have read this particular article, but the article has been too much into the nitty-gritties. However, moving on in this particular direction, Israel strikes Khan Yunis in a bloody new phase of war. So updates with respect to Ukraine-Hamas war has been given. Okay, UK tightens immigration rules to curb illegal immigrants that have entered. November services PMI. Okay, then guys, Moody's have cut down China's outlook on growth property risk. So real estate bubble is about to burst in China, and China's growth has been slowed down, particularly after the post-pandemic period. Okay, so Moody's had cut down their forecast. Then guys, we have the articles, banks write off 10 lakh crore rupees, recover 7 lakh crore rupees in 5 years. So around 10.57 lakh crore rupees have been written off by the banks because of the non-recovery. Okay, then sports page guys we have, and in the last we have science section. Now in science section, some days good articles are reported. However, some days not so good article are there. For example, today article that we have is study of 50,000 dogs says vaccine not culling will stop rabies. So basically guys, what the article is talking about, article is talking about the dog behavior, that there are certain dogs which are super spreaders for rabies. So there have been response of culling. Culling means targeted killing of such kind of a dogs. But vaccination can play a more important role. So this entire research about dog behavior has been provided. Okay. So this is guys about a number of dogs run up to 15 kilometers from their localities. All such behaviors and trends are being discussed. Now, no need to go too much in detail in this particular article. Exam related substance, the type of questions that are asked in our examination on that particular line, content has not been given, so I'll not suggest you to go in this particular article. So this is guys overview, and now let's discuss all relevant articles one by one in the detail. Okay, let's discuss all the relevant articles one by one in the detail. Okay, now moving on guys, also I would like to tell you about the power play prelims test series that we are going to start from 11th of December. Already yesterday I had made a FAQ, frequently asked questions video on this particular thing. You can watch video. Okay, now in this particular test series we are going to have 70 plus tests covering both CSET and general studies, which will have sectional test as well as full length test. Okay, and also in the pinned comment, you will find a link where you can download entire schedule of the test series. Okay, and this particular test series will be focusing on both current affairs as well as static areas, and will give you a kind of a plan of action for your preparation ahead. You can join the test series right now at subsidized prices, at that is 999 plus taxes, which is valid for first 500 enrollments only. Now moving on guys, every class we start with a GS quotation, and this particular quotation can be used to complement your answers in GS paper as well as in essay. So today we'll take quotation from Mehboob ul Haq. Who says, in the last analysis, human security means a child who did not die, a disease that did not spread, an ethnic tension that did not explode, a dissident who was not silenced, a human spirit that was not crushed. So guys, we often talk about national security, nutritional security, energy security, but far more deeper than that is human security, because everything is being concentrated for human welfare. So human security is very important human security has to be the most important priority for every nation. And what a human security is? Human security is a child who did not die, because of unavoidable diseases, because of malnutrition, a disease that did not spread because of the robust health response that has already been enacted by the state, an ethnic tension that did not explode. It will happen if there will be harmony in the society, a dissident who was not silenced. It will happen if there is a tolerance in the society and civil liberties of the people are protected, a human spirit that was not crushed, dreams that were not crushed. So you can use this particular idea in essay, because now in the last 3 years we have seen that number of philosophical essays that are being asked, their numbers have increased. So such kind of idea can be utilized there. So that is all guys about it. And now moving on, and let's take first article for today. So guys, as we have the first article now, so basically there are two articles that have come in today's newspaper and both are on same line. So we have clubbed these two articles. First article is from page number 1, that is global stock take draft calls for phasing out fossil fuels, and second is honest reckoning. So both articles are on the same line. Both these articles will be important for GS paper number 3 environment. GS paper number 3 environment and ecology. Okay, now first of all, before going on in this particular article, we will take some basic background information and then we'll go in this article. So basically right now COP28, Conference of Parties 28, is going on in Dubai, UAE. Now this Conference of Parties is the annual meeting of countries who have signed UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Now countries here they come together and they discuss that how climate adoption, climate mitigation can be done. They discuss that how emissions could be reduced, carbon emissions, how they can be reduced. Okay, all such things are being discussed. Now this year's COP28 is a special one. Why it is a special one? Because for the first time GST, global stock take exercise, is being taken. GST, global stock take exercise, is being taken up. Now what is global stock take? If you are following regularly, you might already be knowing it. However, let's revise again. So basically guys, in 2015, Paris Agreement was signed. And in this Paris Agreement, it was decided that the countries will ensure that global temperature rise should not go above 2 degrees Celsius. And if possible, they'll ensure that temperature rise should not go above 1.5 degrees Celsius. So temperature should not rise beyond this, and if possible beyond this temperature should not rise. So they need to take certain actions, they need to take certain steps. And what steps were taken? Countries, they came out with their intended nationally determined contributions. Okay, every country have taken the target in this particular capacity. For example, India will deploy 500 gigawatt of electricity by 2030. Okay, all such kind of INDCs have been adopted by different countries. Now we have taken some targets, but we need to assess that whatever targets we have taken, whether these particular targets are helping to reach the goal, that is ensuring temperature below 2 degrees Celsius and best below 1.5 degrees Celsius. What we are doing, will that help us to reach that or not? We need to assess. And for that assessment, this global stock take exercise is happening right now. And guys, one particular thing has already been made clear. For example, IPCC report that was released last year, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, 6th assessment report, it has provided that world is not on a path to reach these particular targets. Fine, we are not on the path. Okay, so we need to do more. Now what is to be done? These things are being discussed in this COP28, and one of a solution that has been proposed. Is orderly and just phase out of fossil fuels. Phase out. Now, guys, understand this thing. There is this particular controversy of phase out versus phase down that is going on. And this particular controversy became a big one in COP26 also. Now, phase out versus phase down, let's understand that. And then we'll come to this phase out and problems that have happened. So basically, guys, developed countries, they see this particular thing. Developed countries says that if we want to reduce carbon emissions, we need to reduce fossil fuels. And in fossil fuels, they specifically single out coal. that coal is to be reduced, coal-fired power plants are to be shut down, new coal-fired power plants are need not to be commissioned. This particular thing they are putting on. Now, developing countries such as India, they say this particular thing that we cannot give up coal right now, because right now we need to provide cheap energy to our people, okay, and therefore coal we are going to use for next 20-30 years. We cannot give away the coal. So developing countries such as India, they say that you don't use the word phase out. Phase out means completely abandon coal. Please don't use the word phase out. They said that we are comfortable with phase down, but not phase out. Okay. So this is something that they do. Now guys, developing countries say this particular thing, that see, in past, historical emissions have been done by developed countries. Okay. They were when industrial revolution came in these developed countries, they were the one who emitted a lot of carbon. Today they have become developed. Today they have money. Today they have already transitioned to renewable energy and they have capacity technology that they can abandon coal. But we are developing. We cannot give away coal right now. So this particular thing has been taken up in GST, and India has clearly said that we are not comfortable with this phase out expression. So this is India's response. Also guys, in this COP28 there is energy efficiency pledge that has also been discussed. Now this energy efficiency pledge has two pillars. Pillar number one, triple the share of renewable energies by 2030 compared to 2022 level. So 3x renewable energy share is to be increased. So they provide that renewable energy share is to be increased to triple to 11,000 gigawatt. Okay. Also, one thing more that they have taken, second pillar, is that energy efficiency is to be improved. Okay. For example, guys, you might be having an air conditioner. Let's say it is a 2-star air conditioner and there is also a 5-star air conditioner. Now 5-star air conditioner will do the same cooling by using less electricity. So this device is more energy efficient. So we can also save a lot of electricity by making our existing appliances more efficient. So second pillar of this energy efficiency pledge is to double is to double okay is to double the global average annual rate of energy efficiency. So these two pillars are there. Now India has not signed this particular pledge. Why India has not signed? Because India says this particular thing that we are not going to take any binding agreement. Now if to put the things into the perspective, guys, already India has committed that we will be deploying 500 gigawatt of renewable energy capacity by 2030. Right now it is around 170 gigawatt. So from 170 gigawatt we are going to 500 gigawatt, which is already 3x. But India says that we are not going to take any binding commitment, though by our own we are going to do this particular thing. So around 118 countries have signed this energy efficiency pledge and India is not in these 118 countries. India has abstained. India has not signed this energy efficiency pledge. Now guys, here also double standards of developed countries can be seen very clearly. For example, USA. Now USA is boasting that USA, for example, they have said that we will completely abandon coal from our energy use by 2035. And USA says that if we are giving away coal, will not use coal by 2035, why India does not agree to that particular thing? But there is also one more thing that is to be seen. Guys, when we talk about India's coal-fired power plants are responsible for nearly 50% of India's greenhouse gas emissions, and more than 50% of India's electricity is coming from the coal-fired power plants. But when we talk about USA draws only 20% of its energy from coal. Okay, 20% of its energy from coal, but India is drawing more than 50%. So for India, it is not very easy. Moreover, economic capacity restraints are also there on India. So this is something that is going on, guys, and it is likely that disputes or differences of opinion that have been there in COP, they will continue even after this COP28. So this is all about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it, and now we'll move to next article. Michaung makes landfall in Andhra Pradesh, wreaks havoc. Okay. Now, guys, we see this particular thing that every year we see this particular thing uh, that the cyclones they make landfall in India. Okay. Now, guys, when we talk about the cyclone, what is cyclone? Cyclone is a system of low pressure, a system of low pressure. So in the warm basically on the waters when the temperature rises, so a low pressure area is created, and in that low pressure area wind comes, and with this low pressure area high stormic activities they are followed. Okay, and you already might be knowing about cyclones in your geography. This is one of a basic chapter in geography. Okay, now, the important thing is that we want to discuss here is that we find often unique and interesting names of the cyclone. For example, this cyclone is named as Michaung. So, what is the methodology behind naming these particular cyclones? And such analytical questions can be asked in your UPSC examination. There is a high probability of this thing because, for example, they did not ask the question with respect to the why Battle of Panipat was fought, but they asked the question that why battles have been fought in Panipat. Okay, so let's discuss this naming of cyclones, and we'll take this particular article with respect to GS paper number 1, geography and geographical phenomena. Okay, so guys, when we talk about the naming of cyclone, so World Meteorological Organization, Economic and Social Commission for Asia, and the Pacific Panel on Tropical Cyclones. Okay, so they have decided in 2000 in Oman that we have to give specific names to cyclones that are originating in Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea. Now, guys, earlier what used to happen, cyclones were given name on the basis of the coast that they are hitting. Okay, so coast that they are hitting, from there name of cyclone was given. But over the years, we have seen that intensity of cyclones have increased, that now every cyclone is to be given a new name. So how the naming of cyclone is done? So actually from September 2004, naming of cyclone has started. Now guys, when we talk about the world, in world there are 6 regional specialized meteorological centers. 6 regional specialized meteorological centers. Okay. And 5 regional tropical cyclone warning centers. They play an important role in naming of the cyclones. Now, when we talk about regional specialized meteorological center, Indian Meteorological Department, Indian Meteorological Department is one out of this 6 RSMC, that is Regional Specialized Meteorological Center, and it plays an important role in naming the cyclones that are originating in Arabian Sea as well as the Bay of Bengal. It plays a very important role. So basically, guys, the cyclones which originate in Arabian Sea as well as Bay of Bengal, they largely impact 13 countries. Which 13 countries they impact? Bangladesh, India, Iran, Maldives, Myanmar, Oman, Pakistan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Sri Lanka, Thailand, UAE and Yemen. So basically, guys, what happens? These 13 countries, they send the list of 13 names each. Okay, so 13 into 13 it is, so they send the list of 13 names each. So around 169 names of cyclones have been forwarded by these 13 countries, and on that particular basis every cyclone is named. Let's understand this particular thing little bit more. So basically guys, if you see, okay, so now please download synoptic notes. This table is available in the notes. So guys, if you see, alphabetically countries have been named. For example, Bangladesh, India, Iran, Maldives, Myanmar, Oman, Pakistan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Sri Lanka, Thailand, UAE and Yemen. And all these countries have given their 13 names. For example, names that have been given by Bangladesh, they are Nisarg, Biparjoy, Arnab, Upakul, Barshan, Rajni, Nishit, Urmi, like this. India, name given by India is Gati, Tej, Murasu, Ag, Vyom, Jhar, okay, Probaho, Neer, likewise. Okay, so Bangladesh has given their 13 names, India has given their 13 names, Iran has given their 13 names. Okay, and guys, what happened? Sequentially, these names are used. For example, This way, list 1 will be used, then this way list 2 will be used. How the cyclones will be named. Okay, one more thing guys, I want to tell you that this is a new list. This is a new list, and this particular new list has been adopted in 2020. So post 2020, these cyclone names are there. Earlier list was also there, but the names in that list have been finished. So now this new list has been adopted in 2020. So how cyclones will be named? So in 2020, there was the cyclone Nisarg that came. After Nisarg, the Gati will be used, then Nivar will be used, then Burevi will be used, then Tokte will be used, Yas, Gulab. You also might have heard a lot of cyclones because many of them have made a landfall in India also. And now we are reading about the cyclone Michaung. So we know this particular thing that we have seen all these cyclones till now. So Michaung is given by Myanmar. So next cyclone that will come, it will be named as Remal. After that cyclone that will become, it will be called as Asna. Then the next cyclone will be called as Dana. So in this particular way, cyclones are named. This is the way in which the cyclones are named. And all these particular countries, they give their suggestions as I have given you. Okay, so this is guys all about it. Fine. Now moving to next article. Okay, beyond this guys, no need to see anything in this particular thing. Okay, the journey towards a plastic free world. The journey towards a plastic free world. So basically, first of all guys, let's understand the context as what has happened, and after that you will be able to understand this particular article better. So under United Nation Environment Program, UNEP, United Nation Environment Program, a meeting has been held in the month of November, that is between November 13 to November 19. However, the dates are not that much important. And this particular meeting aimed to eliminate plastic from the world because plastic becomes a major pollutant. It chokes water bodies, it impacts marine life, and now, in fact, plastic, microplastics, they have started to enter the human bloodstream also. Okay, so plastic is to be eliminated. So therefore, intergovernmental negotiating committee, intergovernmental negotiating committee meeting, third meeting. Okay, so this is called as INC3, intergovernmental negotiating committee meeting. Already two meetings have held. Okay, next meeting will be the fourth meeting. So INC3 was held under UNEP, and this particular meeting was held in Nairobi. And aim of this particular meeting is to end pollution, plastic pollution worldwide, end plastic pollution worldwide. And in this particular meeting, document that was adopted to end the plastic pollution, this document was named as the zero draft. This document was named as zero draft. Now basically this particular zero draft, what it aimed, it aimed to impose an internationally legally binding treaty to end plastic solution. Also it wants to impose plastic pollution fees largely on the corporates which are responsible in making plastic products. Okay, on polymer production it wanted to impose high fines and tariffs and all such kind of things. So they aimed to reduce the plastic pollution, and this particular treaty was floated. But guys, what has happened, it has not got passed. Why? Because certain corporates with vested interest as well as certain countries which are the big plastic manufacturers, they have watered down the provisions of this particular treaty. So what has happened, many of the states, they watered down the core obligations, particularly some high impact elements, primary polymer productions. Okay, so primary polymer production companies, okay, in fact the chemicals of concerns that are there which should not be used in plastic, they have not been fully they have also not been adopted properly. So basically guys, what has happened, countries such as Saudi Arabia, Russia, China, Iran, and some of the members of the Gulf Cooperation Council, they argued this particular thing that plastic is to be phased out. Plastic pollution is a problem, we agree. But what this is going to have an impact on environment? This will have an impact on environment. This will have an impact, sorry, what impact will be on the economy? There are many countries where big plastic manufacturing is there and they have employed so many of the people. It is contributing into the taxation, etc. So what will be the impact on them? So economic interest and economic investments also needed to be kept in mind. So such a harsh provisions according to them should not be adopted. And guys, in this particular meeting, only important role that has been played by is by the African group of countries and small island developing states. They have put forward the strong binding provisions, okay, and also they have provided that the waste pickers, okay, their concerns, marine communities, their concerns, impact on marine life is to be adopted, and they have pushed for binding commitments, but nothing has happened. Moreover, guys, see, for example, this INC meet 3 was being held. Next meet will be INC 4 meeting. INC 4 meeting. Between this particular 1 year gap, or between this particular gap, there needs to be the intersession work that is to be done. So what work is to be done, what intersession work will be there, that is also decided in the preceding meeting. But differences became so big that even what intersession work will be done between INC 3 and INC 4, it has also not been decided. So this time is going to get wasted. Fine. So this is, guys, all about it. Okay. I hope you have understood it. And now moving to next article. Okay. So as I told you that this is the Mahaparinirvan Divas, death anniversary of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar today. So therefore this particular article has been published, and this particular article is talking about the social justice ideas of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. We'll take this particular article. We'll take this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 2, social justice. Also, this particular idea can also be taken up with respect to the essays. Okay. Now, guys, as we talk about the modern democracy, so it has been provided that the modern democracies, they focus on democratic values, and democratic values largely focus on enhancing social harmony in the society. They focus on enhancing they focus on enhancing equity in the society. They focus on enhancing justice in society. And all this thing will only be possible when dignity is given to everyone, irrespective of their caste, irrespective of their religion, irrespective of their gender. When dignity will be given to them, only then justice will come. Okay. Now, it has been provided that when we talk about every society, including India, there have been certain people who are historically marginalized. And in this capacity, scheduled caste people, Dalit people, they have been historically marginalized and deprived, because against them, untouchability has been meted out. Now, it has been provided that democratic institutions, our parliament, our judiciary, they are mandated, they are obliged to engage with the worst of social groups, okay, and to give them their fair share in society. They should be given the representation, they should be given equal economic opportunity. That is something should have happened. And Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has been an important torch bearer. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was the one who emphasized on giving equal share, and this was expected from the state. But what has happened post independence, we have found that this has actually not have happened. And we see that post independence, and particularly after 1991 LPG reforms, there is the emergence of neoliberal, there is new liberal economic development. Market economy have developed. Now, what are the neoliberal economic policies? Let me explain you in simple terms. So basically, guys, neoliberal economic policies are those policies which emphasize on giving free hand to market. State control will be reduced. Free market will be promoted more and more. And guys, when we talk about giving free hand to capitalist, free hand to market, they will obviously be focusing on increasing efficiency. And in that particular capacity, what happens? Historically deprived, historically marginalized, they might not be properly catered. And this is exactly that is happening today. See, today in public sector, in government sector, there are some provisions of reservation for deprived sections. We give them some head start and they are absorbed there. But private sector, it works on completely merit. And guys, when we talk about it, focuses completely on the merit. Often deprived, historically deprived groups, they are not able to compete on merit all the time. So therefore, they don't get proper representation. So this private sector that has been emerged and this new liberal economic development that is going on, it has not given proper support to Dalit, Adivasis. Okay, so this is something that has happened. Now, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's principle of social justice, which focused on giving special support to these groups, it would reprimand the current realm of neoliberal economy because it has neglected their interest. Now guys, when we talk about Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar offers ethical corrective measures to make institutions more democratic, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar supports that affirmative action, special safeguards should be there. Now guys, what we need? We need to reimagine the new order. So, new economy, private sector, capitalist class, they need to democratize the way of working. How to democratize the way of working? Only selected group should not be represented. Diversity should be brought. And in this diversity, Dalits, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe should be included. One thing. Second thing, guys, that has come here. Guys, is that basically it has been provided that when we talk about the Dalits, Adivasis, they are looked as passive recipient of the state's welfare packages. Often an attitude of charity comes that okay, we are giving them something, we are giving them jobs as a matter of charity, but no, that attitude of charity and pity should not be there. Rather these particular groups, okay, so corporate benevolence should not be shown. Rather, these particular groups should be made an essential component in urbanization, in industrial production, in technological innovations. They should be supported in such a way that they emerge industrialists, they emerge as corporate managers, they emerge as corporate leaders, okay, they emerge as influencers in the global economy. So such kind of a support is to be provided, and only by that Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's idea of social justice will be fulfilled. Okay, so this is, guys, all about this particular article, and a very good article, a very fresh perspective has been given on Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's idea of social justice. So use it in your answers. Now, moving on to next article. Is unmarried women having children by surrogacy an accepted norm? Asks Supreme Court. So guys, this article will take with respect to GS paper number 1 and GS paper number 2. Gender related issues and social justice will take this particular article. Now, before going on in this particular article, first of all, guys, let's understand some basic background information and then we'll go in the details of this particular article. Okay. So basically, guys, what is surrogacy? Surrogacy is a phenomena in which a person takes the help of another woman to conceive a child. What happens in a surrogacy? Let me give you one example. Suppose there is a married couple, and after multiple attempts to conceive pregnancy, let's say the woman is not able to conceive pregnancy. Maybe there is some medical problem with uterus, or let's say pregnancy has failed multiple number of times, or biologically women is not fit to conceive the pregnancy. So what they can do, they can approach some other women and can ask for the services of the women that she can become surrogate mother for this particular couple. That is surrogacy. Now guys, when we talk about surrogacy, in India, surrogacy became a big time economic business, and what happens, many number of times, even women of 60-70-year-old, they have been asked to become surrogate by giving them a sum of few thousand rupees. And there became a big rackets, big institutions emerged in India which were facilitating this particular surrogacy, and often these women, poor women, they become vulnerable. So guys, what has happened? India has come out with Surrogacy Regulation Act. India has come out with the Surrogacy Regulation Act 2021. First of all, let's understand the provisions of the Surrogacy Regulation Act, and then we'll come in that particular article. So when we talk about Surrogacy Regulation Act, it was introduced to curb unethical practices in the issues of surrogacy, such as sex selection, exploitation of surrogate mother. Now, under this particular Surrogacy Regulation Act, what has happened? Number one provision is this, that number one, commercial surrogacy has been banned. Means now you cannot approach a woman and can give her money to become the surrogate mother. Only altruistic surrogacy is allowed. only altruistic surrogacy is allowed. What is altruistic surrogacy? Altruistic surrogacy is one where the women volunteers to become a surrogate out of compassion and empathy and not for money. And that altruistic surrogacy could be your closed relative or some closed acquaintance. So only altruistic surrogacy is allowed. Commercial surrogacy has been banned. Number one. Number two, under this particular act, a couple can opt for surrogacy only on medical grounds. Only on medical grounds. Simply, they cannot go for surrogacy that, for example, let's say there is a career woman and she thinks that if she becomes the mother, her career might get impacted. So let's take the services of a surrogate mother. On that basis, surrogacy cannot be availed. Only on medical grounds, surrogacy can be availed. Then the couple who is going for surrogacy, they should have been married for 5 years and should not have a living child. Should be married for 5 years and should not be having a living child. This is one thing. Then surrogate mother has to be a close relative of the couple, a married woman with the children of her own and age between 25 to 35. This woman can become a surrogate mother. Okay, and this provision is the most important one for this particular article that we are going to discuss. Now, this particular Surrogacy Regulation Act provided this particular thing, that single men cannot take surrogacy, but single women can take surrogacy. Now, within the single women, who will be included? Single women who is widow or divorced and is between age of 35 to 45, she can adopt for surrogacy. So, single women can be of three categories. Listen very carefully. Unmarried, widowed and divorced. The law have allowed only widowed and divorced, not unmarried. Now, what has happened? What has happened here? Now, a petition has been filed in Supreme Court where there is a single unmarried woman, and she wants to go for surrogacy. She says that she is highly diabetic, and being highly diabetic, she want to have a child of her own, but through a surrogate mother. So she has appealed for surrogacy. Now, guys, Supreme Court has read the law, and Supreme Court said that Surrogacy Regulation Act 2021 allows single women but does not allow unmarried women. It allows widows and divorced. Also, it has been said that unmarried women having children by surrogacy is not an accepted norm in the society. In the society, accepted norm is to have children after the marriage. Okay. So once marriage has to be done. After marriage, let's say divorce happened, widow happened, but marriage has happened once. So after the marriage, having children is a norm. So in the society, having the norm without the marriage is not accepted one. Also, as per law, they said that as of now, there is no provision. But let's say the matter is going on. Let's see what will happen. So this is, guys, all about it. However, you are not really required to go too much in detail. You need to know the provisions of surrogacy that is important for you. I hope that you have understood it. And now we'll move to next article. Glaciers shrank 1 meter a year in a decade, WMO, World Meteorological Organization. Now, World Meteorological Organization has released their latest report. In this report, they have talked about the trends with respect to glacial melting, trends about the heat waves emergence and all such kind of things. Now, whenever these particular reports are released, guys, understand this thing, that a full-fledged question on this report will not be asked, but findings can be used to authenticate your answers in the GS paper number 3. Okay, so let's take the findings. Also, in past, we have seen that in prelims also questions around reports have been asked. Okay, so for that also it is going to be important. So what has happened? Global Climate 2011-2020, a decade of acceleration report. It is released by WMO, World Meteorological Organization. So name of report is Global Climate 21-22, a decade of acceleration. This is the report. Now, I have provided you major findings of this particular report as point number 1, 2, 3, 4, so that it becomes easy for you, to make sense of this particular report. Now, what are the findings of this particular report? Number 1, they say this particular thing, that decade between 2011 to 2020, it is the warmest ever decade. It is the warmest ever decade which has been recorded in the history. But at the same time, this is obviously a negative thing, but at the same time, one positive thing also happened in 21-22. That is, there were the lowest number of deaths from extreme events. So extreme events which have taken the deaths of 10,000 or more, they are not happening Deaths by extreme event have been reduced. Why? Because of the better early warning systems, better forecasting systems. For example, now if we take the example of India, we have become, we have done really good work in forecasting cyclones. Days ahead, we are able to forecast cyclones. So cyclone formation, tsunami forecast, they have become better, and therefore we are better prepared, and therefore deaths have been reduced. Also, this particular decade, 2 years back, this was a lot in the news also. What has happened? This was the first decade that depleted ozone hole, it is showing a visible recovery. It is showing a visible recovery at many places. It has been nearly recovered. This is again second thing. Also guys, there is one disturbing development that has happened, that the glaciers, they have melted considerably. Their melt has increased, and every year they are melting at the rate of 1 meter per year. So between 2011 2020, every year 1 meter have glaciers have melted by 1 meter. And also Greenland and Antarctica, which host a lot of polar ice, they have lost 38% more ice compared to the previous decade, that is 2001 to 2011 to 2001 to 2010 period. They have lost 38% more ice. Also, it has been provided that human caused climate change events are increasing. Obviously, humans are the one who are emitting carbon. So human anthropogenic led climate events, they have increased. And when we talk about guys, particularly heat waves, they are the responsible for highest number of human casualties. Okay. And finally they have talked about the climate finance. Now guys, very important, because this climate finance is discussed in every environment related international negotiation. Climate finance becomes always a contention. Now when we talk about climate finance, according to WMO, they say that climate finance has doubled. What is climate finance? Understand this thing. Climate finance, money that is specifically being mobilized to improve the climate adaptation. For example, money mobilized for deploying renewable energy, money used for reducing the carbon emission, all money going in that direction is climate finance. So money mobilized by climate finance, it has doubled. Very good, but it is still not sufficient. It is being said that we need to increase it to at least 7 times. It has been doubled, means 2x has happened, but we need 7x. Okay. So we need that if we want to meet our goal of keeping the temperature rise in the range of 1.5 degree Celsius. So if you remember, I told you that particular thing also. Okay. So this is guys all about this particular article. Fine. I hope that you have understood this particular article. Okay. So this is guys all about the articles for today. And with this, we come to an end to the today's session. And guys, I hope that you are able to understand it, and I hope that you are able to get utility out of this particular session. So guys, if you have liked the video, please do hit like button. Please do leave your lovely comments. I would love to engage with you. Okay. So that is all guys for today. Thank you so much.